What's up, babes? Today we're making a video on year end or a year in review for One Piece. Not normal. I think it might have happened twice this year, but a chapter came out on Monday this week, which was very interesting. This is obviously coming out on New Year's, so Happy New Year's, or I guess New Year's Eve. But that's kind of like the holiday anyway. They're taking a break, I think, until the 16th, which is quite a ways away, but they hit us with a solid chapter to end things. But this is kind of going to review everything and then go into that last chapter and see what we're headed towards in 2022. But this year, believe it or not, started off with chapter 1000, which seems like it was a long time ago, but it wasn't. That's what started off the year, was actually chapter 1000, and we got episode 1000 within the same year. Chapter 1000 and like 1010 were definitely some highlighted chapters for me. That was kind of everything up on the roof. It was kind of what people have been waiting for a very long time. Ever since the Alliance met up, ever since we heard of Yonko a long time ago, to see Luffy actually face them, along with Kid, along with Killer, Law, and Zoro. Rereading that was awesome. I love seeing them all have to like go at it with these monsters, and they know what they're doing is kind of crazy, and even they're surprised with some of the feats that not only they're able to deal with, but able to pull off. As a whole for this year, I feel like you gotta give Zoro the MVP, just because I feel like he did so much. He blocked Ocean Sovereignty, which is protecting both Kid, Law, and Luffy, who are all in huge fights right now. Fights are gonna make this raid either a success or a failure, which we saw in the newest chapter. But on top of that, he was also able to take out King, which was one of the strongest people there. I would put King probably above CP0, but CP0 is tough to place at this point, so it's kind of a weird dynamic there. But after the first rooftop battle, we got to see every single Straw Hat power up. And when I say power up, I mean power up a lot. Like every single one except Usopp, just about. You could debate Brook and Jinbei. Jinbei's kind of a nut. Fun fact, Jinbei's never really lost a fight. You can look it up. He's never really lost a fight. He's kind of been like the bigger man, or the bigger fish, if you will, but he's never lost a fight. I love Jinbei. You guys know that I love Jinbei, but the dude's never lost a fight. Brook was kind of playing secondary. We might need his leftover energy to deal with CP0, which we kind of saw a little bit of him protecting Robin. Speaking of Robin, with the whole devil darkness thing that she's got going on, not entirely sure what's happening there with that power. She seemed to know about it before, so it's probably something she learned during the time skip, but that power up is huge. That power up took out a Flying Six somewhat handedly, somewhat like, damn, like Maria got her ass whooped. Nami with debatably the biggest power, no actually, Nami with a huge power up though. Being able to use Zeus to the capability that Big Mom was able to. Of course, the output is not even nearly close to the same, but what she's going to be able to do with Zeus in the future is going to be crazy. Taking out an already tired ulti, but I feel like when Nami really figures out the dynamic with Zeus, through the roof. And I was just amazed with that power-up specifically, because as a part of the weakling trio, I was like, yeah, like, kind of going to always be a weakling. No, not anymore. Like, now it's a problem. Like, now she's in tandem with Zeus, and that becomes a pretty big issue for whoever she's fighting. Who else? We have Chopper. Chopper learned, I think, was it 15 or 30 minutes? I'm not entirely sure. But learned to be in, like, his Mega God form for that long. And it was weirdly because of Caesar Clown that we learned. He's like, oh, well, you can make this in order to make this power-up or this form last longer. So now Chopper's kind of a crazy nut too, was able to hold Queen off for a decent amount, and that comes down to the two people who powered up the most, who kind of needed to in order to take out the two top calamities. That was Sanji and Zoro. Sanji's power up was kind of, some people didn't like it. I very much did like it, just because he was already experimented on, and I think we're going to learn more about what his body's made of. But I think it works with kind of where Oda was taking Sanji as a whole. Like, making his body stronger allows him to use some of these moves that he's been working on for a while to an extended, exorbitant degree. So I'm very excited to see what Sanji's looking like in the future. He's already looking great. He's kind of out of commission right now, but I expect him and Zoro to kind of stand back up just because of what's gonna happen at the end of this. Zoro being able to not only just discover that he just discovered he had King's Conquerors. He doesn't even really understand what that means, but then he's like, oh, the sword needs it at all time. And that's something he was just able to do because he needed to. He needed to become the king of hell in order to make this happen. So, yeah, like, that's actually kind of wild. Franky, I feel like Franky just keeps powering up on his own. He's not someone that kind of needs that, like, nonsense flashback power up, whatever. It's just kind of like, I'm going to build a bigger thing. I'm going to be able to shoot lasers at you, and these radical beams are going to do their work, and they have been. And Franky's not someone that we really see lose that much either. Franky's an awesome character. I love how he's being developed. I was talking about Franky with somebody earlier about how pre-time skip was maybe a little different, but I feel like we're still seeing a decent amount of pre-time skip Franky with the new Franky, especially the more we get to see of Franky. And I just love his battles. I love how like kind of goofy and fun they are. Sasaki, that battle was quick, but it was good. We had a lot of like those quick battles with the Straw Hats with their huge power-ups that I hope everyone's aware of because they're pretty damn big. Just for the crew as a whole, like because the bounties we know are gonna go like skyrocket, right? So seeing their power match that, and it's not just kind of like, oh, we won this. It's just like that looks really good. Not technically a Straw Hat yet, but Yamato is going to play a huge part at the end here, chasing down the flaming hatred that is on the way to the armory to blow up all the bombs, and all the stuff that comes with that, with Onigashima coming to crash down into Wano. So we'll see how that ends. All the All-Stars are done, all the Flying Six are done. I think a lot of people are surprised that they might not be standing back up, but I don't think so. But kind of the biggest thing that was said this most recent chapter, which I very much liked, was none of this matters unless you take out Kaido and Big Mom, which I've been saying from the get-go, which is kind of where we started this year. And what was awesome is I actually got the chapter pulled up, but what was awesome about the beginning is chapter 1000, he hits him with a rock gun, I think? And then to end it, rock gun. Either way, they're both rock moves. I think the other one's different. I could be wrong. But that's how the year started and how the year ended with him fighting Kaido. But I'm really loving that kind of dynamic with Kaido because Kaido and him are into it. I'm like, Luffy, like, I know you're having a good time fighting, but there's a lot riding on this shit. And I think they both know that. And it's just awesome to see them both just, like, happy. Like, they're having a good time even though they're fighting for all this shit. It's awesome to see. Kid and Law are fighting Big Mom. We haven't really visited that again. We kind of saw a panel of them fighting with Big Mom looking like a crazy Yonko, but we're not entirely sure where that one's headed. But kind of the biggest variable to me at this point, and something that we've been seeing them narrate throughout the entirety of the raid, is CP0. Now, I believe there's 3 members there. What's interesting is Kaido's henchmen are reporting to CP0. And I don't know if that's ordered by Kaido, but that's definitely interesting. But the 3 CP0 members, there's 2 of them who are fighting. That one just took out a number, and the other one just destroyed X-Drake, which is not too surprising. He looked a little damaged. I reread it. He looked a little damaged, but you have to expect that CP0 is at a different level than the Flying Six. I think that everything that we've seen about them, everything that is behind them is some kind of unknown force that's just for the government, but we're not entirely sure. Even all the way back when we were introduced to CP9, we knew that CP0 were the real dudes. And they brought Rob Lucci into the fold, and even recently, Rob Lucci's been kind of like communicating with what looks like the head guy in Wano with the hat and the one that was beating up X-Drake, who, like I said, it did give him a little bit of trouble before X-Drake is out. Apu ran like a bitch. I don't know why X-Drake trusted him. We also learned this year that Apu is just a bitch that you should not like, but it's well written because we do not like Apu. But yeah, CP0 is an issue, and I don't know what they're going to do about it. I don't know if the remaining power of the Straw Hats is going to be enough. Jinbei, I would say, is pretty fresh. Brook is pretty fresh. The rest seem kind of tired and out of it. What's going to happen? And from the get-go, I've been saying this too. So even if this raid does get pulled off, what's the aftermath looking like? The Marines are on the way, and that's something that happened maybe like 10 chapters ago. The Marines are on the way, and you have to believe that there's going to be at least 1 admiral on board those ships, at least a couple vice admirals, a couple commanders. A lot of dudes are coming. And I think they're coming because of all the people that they'll have to either capture or clean up. And as it stands right now, the government is winning in my eyes because no matter who wins this, everyone's going to be hurt bad. Like Big Mom is starting to take damage. Big Mom's like, hey, I gotta go now, or this could be bad for me. Kaido's taking a lot of damage, and him and Luffy seem pretty even though Luffy's lost a number of times before, but we've seen it time and time again with Luffy, him doing this, so it's not that big of a surprise with where that's going. But if the Marines arrive and everyone's just kind of like, ugh, we're all dead. We won, but we're dead. It's like, nope, I'm kicking your ass and there's nothing you can do about it. I think what's going to happen is Shanks. I think Oda might have doubted kind of everything going on with how much detail was probably necessary, because we're moving through it pretty quick. We got Sanji and Queen in a chapter, King and Zoro in a chapter, which seems fast. And I feel like Kaido and Luffy is going to take much longer. Big Mom and Kid and Law are it's going to take a while too, but it'll probably finish around the same time. But once that's done, the Marines are going to arrive, you would think. And I think Shanks is going to have to bail them out. I think Shanks is going to make his move next year. I think next year is the time that move is going to be made, because the raid will be over. The Pelicans will be flying, and we're going to get news on all this shit that's going on, which is going to be a wild, wild time. I think we're definitely on the downhill of One Piece, clearly, but the ending being so close, the amount of information that's about to be dumped on us is going to be insane. Like, insane. And I don't think a lot of us are ready for some of the stuff we're going to hear, with Endgame kind of rearing its head with what I believe to be the defeat of Kaido. Now, I think Kaido's going to get beaten. I don't know exactly how that's going to go down, but Kaido's going to get beaten. Yamato's going to stop the flaming hatred or remove all the bombs and something in some sacrificial way, but she'll live. Zoans are durable. I think she's going to take quite the hit, but she'll be able to save the country. And then speaking of saving the country, on top of that, Momonosuke is going to be able to do something with the flame clouds, or something enough to slow the descent so that Wano doesn't explode. But I think those two working together is going to be fine for that to happen. The ending is going to be interesting, because I still think that they have to stay in Wano to sum some things up after the fact, with a new shogun happening. Even though it seems kind of small, Kinemon meeting up with his wife, I feel like is kind of a big deal. Hagori, what's his name? The little guy who turns big. I was rereading some chapters where he was freezing, which Chopper is also an MVP, because he came up with the antidote, which would have been a ginormous problem for the Resistance, but they're making it happen. But yeah, a lot has happened this year, even though it doesn't seem like it. The amount of power-ups and changes in the power dynamic and shifting of levels is crazy. Even just Luffy has shifted like 3 times. Within those defeats, his power has just slowly just been growing for no reason. Like when he first started fighting Kaido, it was kind of like, eh. And then like when he continued to fight, he powered up there, and then he powered up again when he met him again, and I'm just like, and then he seems like he's powering up again, and then they split the clouds, and I'm like, damn. Like, a lot did happen this year. But I'm looking forward to next year. I think next year's going to not only end all this, but be, like, crazy with all the info that we're going to get. I know some people might be done with Wano, but I would recommend rereading it or re-watching it when that's all done. When it's all done, just so you don't have, like, chapter lag. Because I feel like when you go week to week with an update, it's kind of frustrating. And it seems very slow, but it's tough to tell pacing when you're doing that. But yeah, One Piece was awesome this year. Oda killed it again. Staying healthy-ish. Hopefully is Oda. Oda's got a 3-week break, so hopefully he'll be chilling. But we're going to get some more Kaido fights in the new year. I can only imagine what the next chapter is going to look like. It's coming to an end now, and I think that we're going to see the end of Wano before summer, I would guess. So a lot's going to happen, and a lot's going to happen fast. So prepare yourself. We'll see what the Marines are doing. I think we're going to see Shanks, which is going to blow everyone's mind. Everyone's going to cry. It's going to be beautiful. Does Luffy awaken the Devil Fruit, though? That is a real question. I don't know. If I had to guess, just because Jinbei brought it up during the fight, or Who's Who did, I gotta say yeah, but it just makes more sense to win with the King's Conqueror like Zoro did, and then awaken it at a later time, but we'll see. But Shanks coming too makes me think that, like, well, Shanks knows about this fruit and how important it was, so maybe, I don't know. Actually, I'm going to go with no. I'm going to go with no, just because I think that's some power-up that we need later down the line, because I don't see another power-up for Luffy readily available besides that, and I think that, but it might be necessary to beat Kaido. I might keep rambling. I could talk about this forever. We've got 3 weeks of a break, which is tough, which sucks, but I'm looking forward to the new year. I hope you guys are too. Keep watching One Piece, even though that's going to be on a break as well, but Happy New Year to everybody. And happy year of One Piece, because every year is the year of One Piece, because they keep on killing it. Let's go, Oda, and I'll see you guys later. Happy New Year. Celebrate, be safe or not, do your thing. Also, shout-outs to Marco and the Whitebeard Remnants for sticking around, just like you should stick around for the new year. Adios, babes.